Good morning, Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. If you are new to our service this morning, I'm Ruth Hall, President of the Board of Trustees and producer of our virtual programs. We're so glad you're here today. Please remember that we are recording this service and we will be using it on social media to build our community. We post our services on our website. We actually put them on YouTube and then we link them on Facebook and our website and Instagram. This is where you can go to saccsl.org to find all of the information you're trying to find, including our archives of our services where we put our Sunday services on there. And you can go back and watch them later. If there's a message that you want to hear again, you can see that and listen to it again. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, we're so thankful that your donations are helping us continue to use YouTube and to put our services on social media. If you go to YouTube, you can subscribe to this channel, and that way you get notifications when there's something new that comes up. And of course, you can always go to saccsl.org to get a direct link to our YouTube channel. So again, thank you for your donations and thank you for supporting us in this virtual world that we're using now. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our senior minister, Reverend Sharon Dunn, who not only has a master's in consciousness studies, but who is also a living example of a spiritual being having a human experience, a beautiful creator and leader of truth. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Sharon Dunn.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So where I live right now in Roseville, California, it's pouring down rain. And that feels like a welcomed, so welcomed experience where our earth just needs water. And I'm so excited that we have this rain coming, and it has been so inspiring to have that kind of winter feeling where you've got your snuggies on, and I've got my slippers on. Of course, they're my dress slippers. I'm very dressed up and I have my dress slippers on, and the house smells like banana pecan muffins, and earlier smelled like plum and kiwi cheesecake with a pecan crust. And so it's that time, isn't it, where we start baking and making soups, and the fall colors are beautiful, and we have rain. I'm just wondering if you agree that this is an incredible way to start one's day. This is the day that God has made, and I'm so excited. Our lesson for today is exciting. I really got into it this week, and we're going to begin with our practitioner. And what is a practitioner? A practitioner is a student of truth who, in our teaching, has about 5 years of education and then goes through 2 years of practitioner studies and sort of an advanced study, has to panel in front of one's peers, and then gets a license with Centers for Spiritual Living. And there are about 400 centers in the world. And so csl.org is where you can find out more about the greater community. And so our practitioners are what we say the healing arm of the center. And what we mean by healing is that there's nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed, only spirit to be revealed. So these practitioners of truth, Margie today and Linda today, are going to be holding vigil for our service, blessing all of us. And we can always contact one of them for prayer and for spiritual guidance. So Linda Connolly, our practitioner of the day, is going to take us deeper. Thank you, Linda. And I am going to ring our bell.
As we breathe in and connect to the beautiful sound of the bowl. As we breathe in and out, we are breathing God. For God is life. It is the breath of God in which we have and move our being. And it is this that has connected us as we gather in spiritual community, this spiritual community that connects us and grows us and deepens us in so many ways. And we come together in this joy to remember who we are, to remember the joy of life, the joy of living. And it is in this that we open to the message that grows us from Reverend Sharon Dunn, from the music that is provided that dances and moves our heart and our soul. It is this love that has brought us together, that is behind the scenes of Ruth and all those behind the scenes that allow us to come together in spiritual community virtually, knowing that in the breath of God, we are still connected, that we are one, that there is no separation. And with this, I just breathe in and out in God, in love, in joy, and so it is. And now for our readings. We shall know each other in God. We shall know God in each other as our thought of God reaches to embrace the universe. Our arms will be around each other. Ernest Holmes. We are in the greatest age of all history. We are in the age of the unifying of all people and all things into the ever-present one. Ernest Holmes. Awakened doing is the alignment of your outer purpose, what you do with your inner purpose, awakening and staying awake. Through awakened doing, you become one with the outgoing purpose of the universe. Eckhart Tolle. And now for our music, Michael Gott.
So, why do we have spiritual community? Why do we do this? Because we forget. There's a wonderful song that my friend Melissa Felipe wrote. Remember that one? I am remembering who I am. I am remembering who I am. I am remembering. I am remembering. Beautiful song, little chant. And that's our work, is to remember. Remember when we've forgotten, to remember again. So Melissa and I wrote a song. It's on my most recent album. It's sort of the sequel to that chant that she wrote. This one's called When I Forget. When I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? this is who I'm supposed to be. Who am I? And then we can do this for each other. Our practitioners do this. Our ministers do this. You do this for each other. You can look into each other's eyes and say, I know who you are. You are the perfect expression of a loving Creator. This is who you are. And so we answer, when you forget, I will remember for you. When you forget, I will remember for you. I will see what you can't see. When you forget. So what I'd love to do is move this to a little bit easier key to sing and have us just sing this. When I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? Help me see what you see when I forget. When I forget, will you remember for me? When I forget, will you remember for me? Help me see what you see when I forget. This is a wonderful thing to ask your community to do for you. And then when you're in a place where you're remembering who you are, you can respond by saying, when you forget, I will remember for you. When you forget, I will remember for you. I will see what you can't see. What you can't see. When you forget.
That was beautiful. That is perfect, Ruth. Perfect for today. I can't tell you how perfect you are and how perfect your selection of music is, because you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that is what I'm talking about. I love how Spirit works through and as us. So good morning. I am Reverend Sharon Dunn, again, your senior minister here at the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And we are working with a theme for October, which is going further together. Isn't that exactly what Michael Gott was talking about? And today our topic is dig deep. Dig deep. And we have a quote from what is said to be an African proverb. So I did some research into it and found that no one really actually knows where it originated. But Cory Booker did use that quote when he was a candidate. And several other people have used the quote and kind of changed it into their own way of looking at it. So I took all of that and put it into our opening statement. And so enjoy this. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Alone, we can go faster. Together, we can go further. And so going further together is this month's theme. And what I'm going to talk about in the lesson for today are 3 things. What is being spiritual? How do we be spiritual? And how do we help others to be spiritual? The question is, what the heck is spirituality? And I know let me just speak for myself, consider myself a spiritual being. And of course, spirituality has little to do with religion. In fact, religion can be a deterrent from being spiritual. So let's separate those 2 out. And we're going to talk about what is spirituality. And I want you to be thinking, if you were asked, what is spirituality? Would you be able to have an answer? It's kind of like if someone says, what is science of mind? We were taught in school, have an answer for that. We literally had to have a short, succinct definition for the science of mind that covered the whole thing. You have 3 sentences. And we do know the science of mind is threefold. We do know that it is philosophy, religion, and science put together. But if someone asked me, what is spirituality? Would I be able to answer that? So I had a blast with this topic. I really did. I was like, yeah, I want to define what is spirituality. So of course, you know me, I went in and researched many ideas about what is spirituality from the great teachers and from the ancient to the current teachings of what is spirituality. And I want to share that. And the principle I'm using today, and what does that mean? Principle, as I say, is what is true for all, principle. And we actually have a declaration of principles written by Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of our teaching of science of mind. So he put together something that we can use as a guiding principle declaration. And what I'm using today is, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. I know you've all heard this many times, but have you ever asked yourself, how do we work towards complete emancipation of all from all discord of every nature? Do you have a pat answer for that? And I did come up with one. And my pat answer is, we dig deep into spirituality and live accordingly. I'm just full of, you know how much I love definitions. I love definitions because sometimes I feel like we use words that we don't think about. We use words that we've already formed a belief about, so we don't have to think about it anymore. And so I like to define or look up the definition of things so that I can renew my idea of what it means, instead of just thinking what I've always thought, doing what I've always done, being what I've always been. I like to renew my thinking by contemplation, which is a spiritual practice. So the 3 things, what is it to be spiritual? How do we be spiritual? And how do we help others be spiritual? I thought was a wonderful exploration for our lesson for today. Are you in agreement? So what is being spiritual? What is spirituality? And here is some ideas. And I took this from many sources and kind of put it into my own. So number 1, the recognition of a feeling or sense or belief that there is something greater than myself. That's number 1. Number 2 is something more to being human than sensory experience, the mundane existence of biological needs that drive selfishness and aggression. Right? Those biological needs that get us into ego, what's safe, what divides me from you, what protects me from you, what protects me from what is going on. Number 3, a way to overcome reacting, there it is, to the world limited by our self-preserving instincts and prior conditioning. Don't we? Don't we look at that? So we're letting go of what was, and we're in what is, and we're digging deep. Number 4 is that we are a significant part of a purposeful unfolding of life in our universe, the greater whole, right, of which we are part, which is cosmic, or you might say divine in nature. So we're part of a bigger idea, aren't we? We're part of the whole. Spirituality involves contemplating the existence of God, and call it whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. That thing that we first stated is greater than oneself. And we contemplate that existence and the meaning of life. That's where our philosophy comes in, doesn't it? What is the meaning of life? The moral laws, and exploring universal themes, which we do every week, like love, abundance, grace, wisdom, intelligence. And it often involves numinous experience. What is numinous? Is that divine intervention, that thing that you can't explain necessarily in any other way than that is coming from the quantum field. That is coming in and as consciousness. That is that thing that is eternal and forever, always was, always will be, and is creative and causal. It is the first cause of everything. So we get those yummy experiences, don't we? That we can't explain and that we never forget. That it builds our faith and confidence that there is something bigger than ourselves. So number 7 is that we may develop when the fragility of life is revealed. We may develop this spirituality when we've had a near-death experience or a diagnosis, prognosis, or something that gives us a sense that life is fragile. And so we have to contemplate, well, if it is, then what? If it is, then what? If it is, then who am I? If it is, then what am I? There is a drive in spirituality for self-improvement, isn't there? And we rise out of unconsciousness, don't we? And the suffering it generates to a state of greater illumination. I love that one. So we're coming out of unconsciousness, meaning we're not paying attention, we're not awake, we're not considering, we're not reflecting, we're not contemplating, we're not praying, we're not meditating, we're not considering anything but. And so we suffer in that place, don't we? Because in that place, sometimes when we're not connected to source or feeling that connection, we're always connected. We can get a sense of a separation, and that is the definition of suffering. Suffering is a sense of separation. To expand beyond the merely good, yeah, this is great. This is it. I want to just stay here. I'm good. Have you ever felt that way? I'm good. I don't need anything more. To rise out of that to the merely good, to the transcendent, to what is possible, to the potential that is limitless and infinite and amazing. That we collapse into form by giving attention to it, by becoming awake and conscious. And in that, right, is where we can embody and experience our values, our higher values. I'm talking about principle, the values that are important to us, but are true for all: love, light, peace, joy, abundance, harmony. And last but not least is to look inward rather than outward. It isn't Big Daddy out there, is it? that guy in the sky. It is to look inward rather than outward, and above all, to be a more loving and compassionate human being in thought, word, and deed. And isn't that why we come here every Sunday? To learn together how we become more loving and compassionate in thought, word, and deed, and to then bring that into our community and serve from that place. And isn't that the vision for our center? So how do we be spiritual? And you all know, number one, we have to have an open heart. Number two, we must, you ready for this? Put spirituality first. I had a yummy conversation with my new friend, because some of us, and I, in different parts of my life, have certainly not put my spirituality first. You know, when we would do these experientials, and we would be asked, well, what are your top 3 values? What's important to you? What are your top 3 that are important to you? And it wasn't God first at first. For me, of course, it went straight to my children. My children are the reason I feel successful in life. They are the love of my life. They are also my Achilles heel, but they are my thing. But you know, we come here in spirit and we go out of here in spirit. So what in the world would I not see in that my spirituality must come first? And so now it is my God, then my family, and then, you see, and putting spirituality first is a must. And this is accomplished through the disciplined practice that we talk about every week. Meditation, contemplation, prayer, seeing a practitioner, journaling, reading, taking a class in our spiritual teaching. All of this keeps that engine running, doesn't it? It keeps that engine running smoothly. You know, it keeps I won't get into engines because I know nothing about them, and I don't know where that analogy came in because I need to stop here. The only thing I know is that there is one, and you have to do things for it and with it in order to keep it running. That's my best. And a teacher or a mentor is recommended, isn't it? We don't do this alone. I've had many teachers. I continue to have many teachers. And what's really fun is to be aware and conscious when a teacher shows up. Because I have found in my beautiful life that those hard lessons are brought often by a teacher I don't like. I don't like those hard lessons, and I don't like those teachers, and I don't call it a teacher. You know, my teachers are the ones that I hold in esteem and give me the feel good, right? Oh, I like that teacher. I'm always going to listen to that teacher. Oh, Deepak Chopra, he's not only yummy to look at, but boy, has he got a lot to say. He's a great teacher. Not that enemy down the street. Not that, no, not that one. And so it's really to be aware and open to all of the teachings, all of the lessons. And the spiritual journey involves first healing. And remember what healing, there's nothing to be healed, only God to be revealed, and affirming the ego so that positive states are experienced. And this includes secure self-esteem, belief in self-worth, capacity for love and generosity, less constrained by ego defenses. So why do we go to classes? Why do we go to classes? Well, for me, why do I go to class? Because I want the evolution of my soul to be a continuum. And what I do in class, you know, is I learn where I am not allowing my spiritual magnificence to shine through. because I'm stuck somewhere in I'm not enough. I'm not worth it, and I can't afford that. I can't speak up. I'm afraid. I'm afraid to live an authentic life. What if I'm not liked? What if I'm rejected? I'll just stop there, because I could take you into my healing and affirming my ego so that it's positive all morning. Am I alone there? Or can you anyone agree that the spiritual path also includes, to work through and with our self-esteem, our self-worth, our capacity for love and generosity, and our ego defenses? That helps us, doesn't it? Kind of clear the path. And last, each one creates a new sense of self, which is free from judgment and criticism of ourselves and, drum roll, others. That means accepting that other is doing their very best right here and right now. So let's move on to the third point I want to make today, which is, how do we help others become spiritual? How do we help others to be spiritual? Of course, first and foremost, we live by example. And people want to have what we have, don't they? I mean, I'm looking at Linda. I am always pointing her out because she's our outreach director and coordinator for our center. And she goes out in the world and shows people who we are. We show up and people are like, who are these people? Right, Linda? Like, who are these people? This is amazing. This is like, wow, that's an example of us and who we are. So we become aware in how we do this. This is essential. How do we do that? How do we help others? Is that we become aware that we are all perfect, complete, and whole, just the way we are, right here, right now. That we are spiritual beings, that we are expressions of the divine, and that this is our true nature. Not me, not Linda, not Corey, not Margie, not the people that I like, that think like me, that look like me, that act like me. But I can read that all over again and tell you that is for everyone. So for us to do the work in consciousness is for us to know and see and believe and trust and have faith in that all of us are perfect, complete, and whole, that is our true nature. And you often hear me talk about when I went to my first Science of Mind celebration on Sunday. And Reverend Edward Viljoen, our now world spiritual leader, who was my first minister, said, you are perfect, complete, and whole. And I thought, as you know, well, that can't be true. I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner. I'm Catholic. Because we don't have to give up our religion to come here ever. So now that I've grown leaps and bounds in my spirituality, I see that I'm an integrated Catholic and that I am still in Catholicism, perfect, complete, and whole. I see that for everyone and all people. And that's a spiritual practice right there, because that sometimes asks and demands us to work with the practice of forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving that other. And I had this yummy conversation about this idea of suffering is separation, the idea that we're separated. And it's even something that we do in this teaching where we start to really work with what is oneness then. And we use our language to support that. For example, you know, when we get to certain classes and we get up there in the teaching and we think about I am with God, and we take out the with and we say I am as God. You know, that idea that I have the faith of God rather than I have the faith in God, that we start to really see that the divine, that I am the I am, that I am that that is. And if I am that, then you must be, because God creates everything out of itself. We can't be different from it. And so we are all that. And just to see that in every face you come across is enough in this life, more than enough. And you know very well from the teachings of all the great avatars that they could see that it didn't matter who was in front of them. They saw the perfection, the divinity, the true nature of every set of eyes they looked into. And wouldn't that just be enough? Wouldn't that bring us world peace? Wouldn't that help us feed one another? Wouldn't that help our climate? Wouldn't that help everything? How simple is this? And how complicated we make it. We also then, to help others be spiritual, we have to know then that our universe is loving and abundant. We have to know that there is enough for all, don't we? Because when we have fear that there isn't, what happens then? Then we go into separation. It's mine, it's mine, it's mine, mine, not yours. You can't have any, because if you do, I won't have enough. Don't we? Rather than just have that faith of God, the abundant universe. There's enough for all, more than enough for all. How many times do I say that? And every time I sit to a meal, every time I say it out loud, I claim and demand and proclaim and that there's enough for everyone, that we feed one another. And even if it doesn't look like that in the moment, if I believe it, I will achieve it. And if I achieve it, we achieve it. Isn't that fantastic? And so we can also attune ourselves to our spiritual magnificence so we are free to effectively serve ourselves in the world, so that we're not just keeping this to ourselves, are we? We're actually, okay, now I got it. I got this. Now, how can I? Where can I? When can I bring this to the world? So I look for opportunity. I call it to me. We use our spiritual tools to join our sisters and brothers in actions that make our lives free from discord. That's how we do this, free from discord. The focus is on gratitude, because gratitude is the root of abundance, isn't it? And that empowers us and others. And we release all limited ideas that prevent our vision for coming into manifestation. You know, we work out those, whatever unlike it needs to get moved out of the way, right? We release that. We take action to form an ever-expanding community of commitment to raising our consciousness and the consciousness of all. So we're not stingy with this, are we? We bring this expanded consciousness to our thoughts, discussions, and actions in all life, political, corporate, academic, and social. And last, we support organizations and structures that evidence this emerging global consciousness with our time, talents, and finances. We support our global commitment to this. We give money to CSL. We give money to our community locally. We give money, we give time, we give talent, we give our treasure to our local community, our global community. This is a tithing practice. You know, remember, and I always remember, if we were only meant to give, we wouldn't inhale. So we must also then learn to receive. So we receive that. We are that flow, that continuity. And I'm learning that in my own life because I'm a giver. I have always been a giver. I've always been dedicated to volunteering and to learning how I can make a difference in the world. And whoa, Nelly, am I learning how to inhale right now? I'm learning to go, oh, wow. I'm learning to be loved in a way that I've never, in new ways. And do you know that with an infinite source, there's always going to be new ways and more and more and more? Oh, baby, yes. And so in summary, isn't this exciting? Kind of, let's have a definition of what we mean. I love that. Every once in a while, I need to stop and say, what do I mean by that? So it starts where? Within, and cannot be done without each other. It's a within and without, isn't it? It starts within, but it can't be done without you. Remember, last week's talk was about one person cannot know what two people coming together can know. Remember, the talk before that was something like, why do we need a practitioner? Why do we go to a prayer partner? Because sometimes I get frustrated as a human being when I'm being human. Didn't we say that yesterday, Linda? I get frustrated as a human being when I'm being human. Every person's inner wisdom knows this truth. Will you remember that? Will you remember that with me? That not only are we all perfect, complete, and whole, and that is our true nature, but every sentient being knows this. Do you believe that? This is within us. So the purpose of life, the name of the game, is to not only know it and be aware consciously, to be awake, but to use it. To use the power and the presence to uplevel our own lives and the lives of others. And I will end here that we make these goals real through our collective deepening consciousness of our humanity and by building a global community of spiritual beings living in harmony. Wow. Let us pray. Praise be to God. Because there is a power and a presence, a frequency that we can tune into that is infinite, beyond time and space, loving, powerful, exuding the principles of love and life and harmony and joy and intelligence and abundance, power. And if that is so, this creator then creation creates out of itself. And so I am that is. And that is true for all. I am love. I am light. I am power. I am beauty. I am abundant. I'm intelligent. And I'm creative. And so right now I declare and I claim and I know and I demand and I joyfully announce that what is true in my mind then must be true for all. And I shout from the heavens that there is a beautiful world, a planet that has an abundant source of supply, that we share this supply, that we trust that each one of us is this spiritual being, this sentient being, perfect, complete, and whole, just as is, that this is our true nature, and that we know this not only for ourselves, but for each other. And that's where we meet. And so I claim that I, in my spiritual practice, in my development as a spiritual being, in my proclaimed spirituality, that I make room for my brothers and sisters, for my own beauty and my own self-esteem and my own self-worth and my own healing, which is the revealing of the Creator that created me, to be a powerful presence, to be a soldier of truth in the world, and that this world, this magnificence, is the truth of all life. Yikes. I simply release my word into the law, takes it from me like a football, takes it down the, down to the goalpost, delivers the manifestation. And I am so grateful for it. This is called answered prayer. I know it to be true already. Before I even spoke my word, I know that this was true in the mind of God. We just let it be, as we say together. And so it is. And we affirm that. Ashe, Shalom, Hallelujah.
Where I am, God is. Where I stand, God is standing strong. Where I breathe, God is breathing life in and out and through me. Ask me where I see God is, where I dance, joy lives at my feet, where I live, beauty's flowing free, in and out and through me. As me, for where I doubt, God is the faith in me. Where I cry, God is the comfort there. Where I seek, God is the answer. Here and now, forever and ever and ever. Where I speak, truth is. Where I work, love is my career. And where I play, God is playing boldly, in and out and through me. As me.
Wow, and God morning. And what we are offering today is 3 opportunities to give, as shown on your screen through PayPal or Square. And please use our website at saccsl.org, or you can mail a personal check to our address shown on the screen. Amazon Smile. You shop there, they give us a little feedback, and we appreciate that. Put us in as your favorite charity. And thank you, YouTube audience, for your donations. We appreciate all donations. Thank you. And please join with me as you remain muted, our great abundance affirmation. Abiding by the law of circulation and in heartfelt gratitude, I affirm that I live in a creative and abundant universe that continuously flows in, through, and out as me, expressing as the ever-expanding infinite good. And so it is. And then we have our prayer request online. Please go to our website again at saccsl.org, and we just look forward to your request, and we enjoy praying over and especially hearing that they work, and we know they work. So thank you. And our latest news, ta-da, is please come in your costume on October 31st for our Halloween celebration, and be silly and have fun. And thank you. We enjoy seeing you. It's going to be fun. And then we have our busy hands, warm hearts. And that starts back up in November 8th. And if you'd like to join us, bring your coffee or hot chocolate, and we sit around and have great conversation doing our favorite crafts. So please join us and give Reverend Patricia a call if you need directions and her address. And join us, everyone, for our Board of Trustees meeting today at 12:30 to 3 via Zoom. And we'd love to have you participate. Come and watch our body of affairs. It's wonderful, and we're open. And Linda?
Thank you. And now our gift for the week to you is this affirmation: I am because we are. Beautiful. And so as we close out today's service, as we leave this virtual gathering, this spiritual community, we take this message with us, this message of remembering who we are, of our spiritual being. And we take that and we know that what we are, it is. And where it is, we are. And we move, breathe, and live that throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month. And it is such a joy, and it is such a learning, and it is a growth. And with that, I say in deep felt gratitude, and so it is.
See you at fellowship.
Yes, forgot.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God.